It is believed there are 365 beaches in Antigua, and soon one of them is going to be named Alzarri Joseph if he continues to perform the way he has, because he's just registered the best figures in the IPL. With me, Ajit Agarkar and Sean Tate. Sean, I'll start with you. Somewhere, someplace, Sir Curtly Ambrose must be smiling. You know, the pedigree is there from the island nation he comes from, and he's performed.
Absolutely. I think, at the start of the game, we sort of said we hadn't seen much of him, and it'd be interesting to see how he goes. And I don't think it's going to get any better than that for the rest of his career. Unfortunately for him, the best IPL figures on day of all time
ever.
But it's his first game, so it's incredible. Well done.
First ever wicket. If you had to ask for a batsman, probably the man in form, the best batsman that you can see in the IPL, alongside maybe Andre Russell, David Warner.
Yeah, and he bowled better balls than that throughout his spell, but you take that as a bowler. I think he's shown what he is. Replacing Malinga can't ever be easy, and then you're up against a total of 136, where those figures are. It's like a dream, basically. You don't expect those sorts of figures in a T20 game, not against a good team, and on your first game, a bit in the pitch, but and later on you could see the control that he showed for those particular conditions is exceptional. So very happy for him.
As Sean said, someone's got to break the news to Alzarri that, son, you're never going to get figures like this again. This probably is the best that you can ever manage in a T20 game. Okay, let's quickly take a look at the scorecard now, and this is how the match panned out. 136 for 7 is what Mumbai Indians got. At that time, most were of the opinion that that's not a good enough total, and that Hyderabad, with its batting lineup, would be able to chase that. Not quite, because 96 all out is what they got in 17.4 overs. The highest score is of Deepak Hooda, who's the star with the ball. We've already spoken about it. Alzarri Joseph with 6 for 12. Of course, you also have the other bowlers chipping in. We'll talk about that. Okay, let's start with Alzarri Joseph's performance here. He was got in for Lasith Malinga. At that time, remember, we talking at the start of the match that those are big boots to fill. You can't expect him to do that. Maybe a decent enough performance. He's exceeded that.
Yeah, good conditions firstly to bowl in, but you still have to. You're always nervous playing a first game, especially an overseas player, young player who's not been exposed to, playing against Warner and Bairstow. I think one thing Mumbai Indians had to get was the two openers out. They gave them a reasonable start, considering you're chasing 136. 33 was the first wicket, and once Warner got out. Alzarri Joseph in particular, but all the Mumbai bowlers exposed the Sunrisers, who we think is a good team on paper, but basically they've been riding because of the top two and their bowling. And you could see, good hard lengths, good bumpers. There was that a little bit too pace. The wicket wasn't the easiest of pick wickets. I'm sure he'll find a lot more other pitches more difficult to bowl on or flatter. But he exploited that, and he was smart enough. There were guys who were moving around the crease, but he stayed straight. Maybe it was a lesson for Siddharth Kaul and Bhuvaneshwar Kumar on what lengths to bowl on this pitch. Unfortunately, which they didn't in those last couple of overs. But all credit to Joseph. When Mumbai really needed it, he's come up with a massive performance.
What that performance has done is help Mumbai really defend a very, very low total. It's one of the lowest total that they've defended by Mumbai in IPL. We're taking a look at that, and look at that 96 and the target was 137. They defended that. Of course, they've done better than that, getting Chennai out for 79, but the target was much bigger. So the third lowest total that they've ever defended, Mumbai Indians, in their IPL history. I'm just going to stay with Alzarri's performance. Sean, I'll come to you. Let's talk about that first wicket. David Warner doesn't give us too many opportunities to criticize him because he's very, very good. But this time he'd have to take some, because that shot wasn't on the first delivery that he's facing of a debutant. He allowed him that foot in the door. From there on, he never looked back.
Maybe David just thought, I'm going to get it on top of this guy early. That's the sort of player he is. It's his first outing, so let's try and take the confidence out of him. But anyway, David was probably due for an innings like that. He's had a few good ones, so you can probably excuse him for having a bad one there.
Yeah, and at 136, you shouldn't be worried with that long batting lineup. The guys following should be able to get the job done. They weren't good enough against a good Mumbai bowling unit. I think the conditions were difficult. But guys like Joseph in particular got all the wickets, but Bumrah, Bend off, those sorts of guys. Or Hardik Pandya didn't bowl much today, or didn't have a great day with the ball. But those guys and Chahar, it's a formidable attack to face once you lost those top two guys.
Since you talk about that middle order for Hyderabad, you lead me on to our second point of discussion. It's that middle order for Hyderabad. That has been a big problem. The top three have been firing for them, and especially the opening partnership. That's the one that's getting them maximum amount of runs and helped them win those 3 games on a trot. Wasn't quite the case tonight. Now, that was waiting to be exposed. Now, that problem area, it has happened today. And it's not just that one game. We've seen it consistently with them. They don't seem to be finding a solution for that.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, they've put a lot of effort and money into their bowlers and guys like Warner. I mean, they're paying them lots of money, and when you do that, there's not a lot left over sometimes for a certain party's side. You look at Bangalore, all into their batting and not a lot amount in their bowling and time and effort put into their bowling. So I suppose, Hyderabad, they've got a good side, but if you're going to be critical, through that middle order. I mean, I think Manish Pandey's struggling. Today, not the greatest knock. He was a bit panicky between wickets.
It's a strange one for an experienced guy,
It is. So, guys like him need to say, okay, this is a really big time in the tournament now. Let's stop messing about in the middle order and actually put some good performances in.
Well, that's the point it brings me to. One thing is you can have a bad day, but doesn't seem like this middle order can get you run. The one person you expected to stand up was Vijay Shankar. He's been doing rather well, but then again, a shot like that in that situation.
Very ordinary. I think that's one of the worst performances you'll see from a batting unit. I mean, again, it's almost exposed how much they depend on the top two and how good Bairstow and Warner thankfully have been for them to have those 2 victories or 3 victories that they've had under their belt. I mean, that middle order, there's a lot of experience there. Vijay Shankar, poor shot. Manish Pandey, I agree with Sean. Just looked like could have wanted to get out every ball. There was a time when he was standing outside his crease when the bowlers hit the bowler and almost went on the stumps, and he was just walking back. A couple of times he called badly.
The top order aren't going to do it every game. So at some point they need to step up, the guys in the middle order.
And they thrive because they depend on their bowling so much to restrict the opposition or defend a total that invariably the batting doesn't have a lot to do. And when you have to chase 136, I mean, again, Yusuf Pathan, then you've got to question whether in a chase like this where you need 70 or 80 or 90, whether he's the guy then to depend on, or is it always the case that if you need a 35, that's when he's going to be at his most useful. I think there's a few question marks they'll suddenly have, and I know it's only one game and they're still in good position, but if those top 2 get out, you've got to wonder if the rest of the order is good enough. If there's another pitch like this, and a lot of people obviously will look at that now.
All right, it's just one game as Ajit mentioned, but that trend has been there. We've seen it throughout. But of course, as the top 2 batsmen have been getting the majority of the runs. But we'll talk about Mumbai Indians. Yes, they won tonight, but the general impression is that the Hyderabad team shot themselves in the foot. What it is that Mumbai needed to do was to get a lot of runs on top. Now, talking about the top order, that's really working for Hyderabad, not quite for Mumbai Indians. Quinton de Kock played a knock or 2, which was rather good, but Rohit Sharma's form has been a bit of a concern. We'll talk about today itself. I mean, Ajit, I'll come to you. We were talking about how Manish Pandey looked like that, he wasn't going to get any runs, was panicking a bit. This is something we don't see with Rohit Sharma. Gave, I think, 3 chances before he was eventually out.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately for Mumbai, they've won. So,
I know.
So he'll feel good about it. I think after that appeal of leg before where he nicked the ball when they took the review, after that I think he just felt that maybe I should start going after the bowling because he played the next ball, he tried to step out and got dropped at third man. The over after that flicked 1 for 6. So maybe said, maybe it's the day that I can take some chances. Unfortunately, didn't take into account what kind of pitch it was because it was so early in the innings. Maybe it survived that. It looked at how difficult the pitch was, might have changed his game. Unfortunately, didn't survive for that long. So I'm sure they'll want runs from Rohit. Whether they're concerned at this point, 3 wins out of 5. Not really. If they'd lost 4 out of 5, then they desperately want Rohit to start getting runs. At the moment, somehow they've managed to get a couple of results in the last 2 games. This in particular, I think Hyderabad's gifted them on a platter really, in spite of good bowling performance from Mumbai. they shouldn't be Hyderabad shouldn't be losing this game.
We're looking at Rohit's recent form, and if you look at the last 15 odd innings, I'm told he's just got 150 plus score, and that's not good enough for a batsman of the class of Rohit Sharma. Sean, when
It's
we were
a massive
talking,
stat, actually.
yeah, it is. It was just told by my producer, and it's very, very interesting. We looked at those other stats about Rohit Sharma, and one thing that was made very clear with those was the fact that if he stays on for 30 deliveries, he invariably goes on to get you a big total. I'm sure if you're aware of that stat, so is the team. Why wouldn't he want to spend some time? He does that for India in international.
Yeah, he does. I mean, if you look at all the good players, and if you give them 30 balls, they're probably all going to make a decent score. So, the interesting thing is, I'm a huge fan of Rohit Sharma. He's a world-class player, but at the start of the tournament, before a ball's even bowled, he said, "I'm going to bat every single game in the opening position." I mean, that's great for the fans. That's why they said it. But that's a big call. What if you get 6 ducks in a row? You know. So I think a big call to make before the tournament. Putting unnecessary pressure and predicting things that might happen. Just go out and play your natural game, bat, hit the ball at the park.
Okay, we were looking at how the Hyderabad lower order didn't really perform with the bat. Now, look at Mumbai Indians, it was exactly the opposite with them. It was that lower middle order that really got them runs. Hardik Pandya got them a few, but it was really Kar and Pollard that turned the game on its head, got them to the total that they did, 136, 65 for 5 they were at one point, and then got 61 runs in the last 5 overs. In fact, they got 39 runs in the last 2 overs. We'll talk about Pollard's inning, Ajit. You were talking about Hyderabad shooting themselves in the foot. In this case, not trying to take any credit away from Pollard's inning, but what is it that the Hyderabad bowlers did?
Yeah, some friendly full tosses.
Full tosses.
I mean, yeah, it's. Look, I think we've seen the other night as well. You know, at least today the Hyderabad bowlers were trying to bowl Yorkers. The other night, I don't think the RCB guys tried any or too many Yorkers against Russell. We saw again when Mumbai Indians bowled, and throughout even the Hyderabad innings, every time you bowled into the pitch, there was a little bit of variable bounce, or not too much up and down, but there was definitely variable pace. And it's a biggish ground, the side boundaries. So if you had to hit square on the wicket, you always had a chance. I don't think Pollard really fancies pulling the ball or hooking it. And it was a little too pace. So to try, if you're not getting the Yorker right, maybe there was always, it's exactly the opposite of what RCB did the other night.
Yeah.
I mean, you should try something else. I mean, 39 runs at that stage.
Probably costing the game, really.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the power to hit it, but I think that there's some real freebies on offer. Maybe Hyderabad a little bit complacent, thinking that they've restricted Mumbai. Tells you it's a funny game.
While Hyderabad are sorting out their problem with that lower middle order as far as the batting is concerned, the death over bowling is a problem because their best bowlers have been Nabi and Rashid. They finished their overs well before the death overs come. The ones that would really do the job for them in Sid Kaul and Bhuvneshwar Kumar have not been the same throughout the season. So not just Pollard, it's been again a trend we've seen consistently.
I think these two guys can get it right. I think, and along with Sandeep, I think they've got the bowls to do it and get it right. They just have to execute it, as simple as that. So they got the right ideas. Kaul tried to bowl Yorkers. He ended up bowling full tosses. Bhuvi actually bowled some good Yorkers in there as well. But I just think just go back to the basics, get in the nets and practice it a bit more.
Finally, a word on Rahul Chahar. He came into the team because Markande wasn't fit. Now seems like it's going to be tough for Markande to come back.
Yeah, brave bowling. Again, best over a big wicket. Obviously, the plan was to go hard early on so that you take the match away from Mumbai. Needed that wicket. He's got it. I think he looked very good against Chennai Super Kings as well. And on a wicket where there was help, again, impressive figures. 2 for 21 of his 4. So at least they have options. It's a good problem to have for Mumbai. You know, that spin is something. 2 wrist spinners. Who knows? At some stage they might play those 2 guys in tandem and could be a handful in certain conditions. So real positive.
Right. We've seen other teams play 2 wrist spinners in their playing 11. Something that Mumbai can look at too. Okay. Finally, gentlemen, it's the Fab 4, and we'll take a look at how Sean Tate has done. Judging from his reaction, he knows that he may have just lost this one. Let's take a look at his team. He had Rashid Khan, Warner, Rohit Sharma, and Hardik Pandya. Got a total of 90 points. But the good thing for you is you've stepped up from that game 1.
Yeah.
Yep, 83 to 90. But
I don't think I'd be too far ahead, would I?
Well, I think you won it. Let's see how many points Ajit has got, because his team was barrened off. He had Quinton de Kock in that, Mohammad Nabi and Johnny Bairstow.
clear
He's got
victory.
136. Well, that's a clean victory. Not as clean as the one that you got in game number 1. That was 169. If you're wondering why Nabi gave you 20 extra points, best economy. Yes, not the best figures, but of course he bowled his 4 overs, giving
That's
away
right,
just
so, yeah.
13 runs and picking up that one crucial wicket. Okay, let's look at the points table right now. What has this win done for Mumbai Indians? Has it really pushed them up in the points table? You'd expect. Yes, they're right on top now, tied for second with 6 points apiece. It's Chennai now, clear leaders on the IPL table, as it very often happens in the IPL. They're right on top with 8 points. Hyderabad, Kolkata, Mumbai tied there alongside Punjab. So Hyderabad not really quite dented as far as the performance is concerned, which hasn't really taken them down in the points table. All right, gentlemen, all's well. That ends well because you won the quiz. You won the Fab Four, both games, I might add. So thanks
rigged.
so much for your company.
It's rigged.
That's what Ajit said about the quizzes, man. We'll leave it at that. 2 great games that we witnessed on Saturday. 2 more games coming our way on Sunday. We'll be right here with all the updates. See you then.